Hi, back with another curious question today. Nancy Forster, the Executive Director of the National EFT Training Institute. And I'm really enjoying this series of questions that people sometimes who are taking our programs here at NEFTI, our foundational training, Discover the Power of Conscious EFT, or our certification level, Harness the Power of Conscious EFT, or sometimes they're questions that come from the community at large. Regardless, curious questions are a wonderful thing. So let me show you today's curious question. Yes, this is something I am famous for saying, something I learned early in my days as a psychotherapist. All attempts to get rid of pain in a complex system lead to greater pain. All attempts to get rid of pain in a complex system lead to greater pain. I think the first thing I want to make sure we're putting into this conversation is that I'm not necessarily talking about acute pain. I'm talking about chronic pain. So my approach using conscious EFT with an acute pain, like I'm remembering when I managed to run into the leg of my wingback chair an hour before I was leaving for the airport for a big, huge 2-week trip to Italy. And it really, really was painful. It was swollen. It was bruised. I was having a lot of trouble walking on it. That was acute pain. And I was doing tapping, 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 just on the pain and on supporting my body to be able to bring healing to that. That's acute pain. I'm really talking in this quote about chronic pain. Chronic pain, maybe there's a chronic back pain that's been there for many years, or I worked with someone fairly recently who had a chronic shoulder pain. I had a chronic pain in my right hand shoulder blade for a couple of months, despite all of my efforts to, through stretching and various ways to deal with that. So there's something else going on. So that's the first piece here, is that we're talking about chronic pain, not acute pain. Secondly, what is a complex system? Well, I think this is sort of a fancy mathematical term for something which is very simple. A complex system is a system which has separate parts, let's say separate pieces. And all those pieces play a particular role within the system, and all are working toward the goals of the system. So, for example, let's take the New York subway system. The New York subway system is a complex system, and it is composed of parts, meaning separate stations, like the 42nd Street station or the Central Park station. I'm not sure if that's a station or not, I just made that up. But separate stations, which all have purpose, right? In this case, to help travelers move from one place to another. That's the goal of the entire system. And if any one part of that system isn't, for whatever reason, able to do its job well, it impacts on the entire system. Right? So the overall health and well-being of a complex system is dependent on the relationships between all the different parts of that system. And the more the relationships are healthy, the more the parts are healthy, the more the overall complex system is going to be healthy. Now, where am I going with this in terms of transformational therapy and coaching? Well, human beings are complex systems. We have respiratory systems, digestive systems, cardio systems. We are made up of all kinds of different systems, including a nervous system. And so overall health and well-being of a human complex system is dependent on the health of its separate parts and also the health of the relationship between those parts. Thirdly, then, what I'm talking about in all attempts to get rid of pain in a complex system lead to greater pain is a recognition that if a part of a human system is holding pain, right? So part of me is holding pain in my lower back. That's a part of a complex system. And any attempts to force change to get rid of that pain are going to have an impact on every other part of the system. And so we need to be very, very cautious in doing any kind of an intervention, whether it's conscious EFT, whether it's visioning, whether it's talk therapy or talk coaching, any sort of efforts to force change in this complex system, that is to get rid of the pain, are very, very likely to cause kickback in the system. So in my New York subway example, right, if for some reason the 42nd Street station needed to go down for maintenance, or maybe it got flooded and it was inaccessible in the whole subway system, there would be all kinds of kickback. There would be travelers stranded. There would be overcrowding at other stations. There would be a lot of frustration happening in the complex system. It's exactly the same in the human system. So trying to get rid of any particular pain, we need to do that with an enormous amount of consciousness and really, really keeping in mind the safety of all parts of the system and how every different part may experience any changes in the pain in the lower back. Here's another example. Early in my career as a psychotherapist, 35 odd years ago, a client came and they wanted weight loss. It's like, okay, great. I know an awful lot about weight loss. And so we went and we used tapping, and sure enough, there was weight loss. But what was so shocking to me was that the next time the client came in, instead of celebrating the weight loss, we're now dealing with chaos in her intimate relationship, right? Those are separate parts of that complex human being. And so, weight loss is going to affect every other part of that system. And so that needs to be a real part of our conscious approach to doing this work. We don't just come in and just go, well, I know how to do this, and force some kind of change. Of course, we can get short-term results, but we also get short-term and often long-term kickback from a system that is saying, no, we're not actually feeling safe enough to make that change. So conscious EFT, we really factor this into our entire approach to how we invite clients into a safe and a sustainable change in their nervous systems and in their current life today. Hey, thanks for being here, and look forward to next time we can chat.